Hey folks, I just wanted to check in for the week about last week's assignments. So I have a couple things I wanted to chat about, peer review and ghost ships. That was really fun to read about, and narrative ideas that you had about Paglen. So peer review, you had an email from me yesterday that said there's a PowerPoint up for you describing not only how you all reacted to the question, what do you hate about peer review, but then also describing the kind of responses that we're looking for. So drafts should be in by now. You should know who you're reviewing, both the person above you and the person below you in the list. And you have that PowerPoint to tell you exactly how you should respond to somebody's paper. And the other thing I want to emphasize about the PowerPoint, so the very last slide talks through ways to use people's feedback. So it gives you some ideas about how to turn what somebody wrote about your paper into something that you can use to revise. That's possibly the most important slide on that PowerPoint, so definitely focus on that once you have peer review comments back from people. So in order to give people enough time to revise their papers, folks, you really need to get peer review in this Friday, okay? So make sure that you're doing that and let me know when you have questions about it. I thought that, I wanted to say too that I just thought that the insights you had into why peer review can be such a flawed process were really helpful, and I really liked how candid you were. So I think what we've come up with, which is unique for this particular group of students, is a really good way to more responsibly and more helpfully respond to people's papers. And so a lot of you suggested a lot of really great questions that we can use, which I didn't end up using, although I think you'll see that they're thematically sort of present in the responses that I've set up. But in order to help with this problem of, oh, I feel so judged or I don't want to judge other people, I think the types of questions we're used to asking as a part of peer review do force us to be kind of judgmental. So you'll see that the response templates that are up there trying to help you offer ideas, suggestions, in ways that are a little less sort of like, you should fix this or this was wrong. So I hope that makes the peer review process here a bit more constructive and useful to everybody, okay? So like I said a second ago, I really enjoyed learning about all the ghost ships that you all know about. Some of them I've heard of before, and some of them I haven't, so I always really enjoy hearing what folks are up to and where they are seeing ghost ships showing up. So it really stood out to me that like a lot of American examples, like United States American examples of ghost ships, are humorous, right? So SpongeBob, that's the character on SpongeBob, Goonies, Scooby-Doo came up, and even Pirates of the Caribbean. I mean, I understand that Pirates of the Caribbean's use of the ghost ship is supposed to be a little bit scary, but not really scary, right? Like those aren't horror movies. So you've got this one kind of narrative in American culture is that we shouldn't be afraid of death. Death is something to laugh at, and that comes across in these uses of ghost ships. But then there are some other like really unusual, cool examples that I hadn't really thought about before. And Cameron Trevino put up this image of like somebody's boat that has sunk, and the name of the boat is No Worries. So it's this hilariously ironic image. And some other people too were talking about this idea of like ghost ship as signifying abandonment, or that there's a narrative of abandonment there. And I thought that was a really interesting contrast to this kind of more pop culture version of the ghost ship, which is laugh in the face of death. We've got this other kind of ghost ship, this abandoned ship, abandoned people, kind of the forgotten folks that shows up. So I thought that was really interesting and smart, fun to think about. I also wanted to say that when we see drones flying around our domestic space, which doesn't happen too much, but will happen in this area. Every once in a while I have somebody who tells me they were driving down SBID and saw a drone sort of hovering creepily next to the highway. So I think sometimes our feeling, if that happens to you, our feeling that it is creepy to see a drone hovering around, it's fueled by these kind of narratives of ghost ships, right? Here's this thing that's unmanned, occupying our space in ways that we don't expect, right? So really cool set of answers. Thank you for your engagement as always in these kind of online activities that train you in the kind of thinking and writing that we want to be doing. So I also want to say that you did this exercise where you wrote about, found Paglen quotations and you looked at Paglen images, and then you wrote up these great discussion board posts about how to connect the details of Paglen's photos to things that he argues in his interviews about what his photos are about. So I picked out, there are 5 of them that are really good. They're on the discussion board, but I've collected them into a Word document, and I'm going to put that in the notes and videos from Dr. B folder. So just shout outs congratulating Maria Maldonado, Chadwick Balfans, remember Chadwick goes by Scott, Louise Trigona, Sabrina Tellez, and Gianna Ferrari for writing some really good, giving us really good models for how you talk about the details of an image in relation to kind of a bigger idea, a bigger argument. So I'm going to read out Louise's because I think it really captures the kind of specificity and detail that we're headed towards in those close readings that we're working on for the exam. So she wrote, I was also interested by this phrase from Paglen. I truly agree with what he's saying. Photography is an art, and I believe it has to appeal to our imagination when creating or observing. That is why I think the images that hide mystery and make us think about these ones are really interesting. They can be interpreted by many different ways. I believe the sentence resumed most of the pictures that he took, especially the second picture in the PowerPoint. Indeed, in this picture, there is a place totally deserted with rocky mountains. The only thing which moves in this picture is the flying object in the sky. The mystery of this picture makes our imagination work, asking many questions. Where are we? What is this object in the sky? Why is there nobody on the ground? Why is this object flying above a deserted place? What does it want? And etc. Thereby, even if there are not many elements in this picture, it does not really speak from itself when we are looking at it. So many questions and ideas come to our mind. And that's Paglen's work's purpose. A lot of really good things in this answer. I like how much detail there is about the specific picture and what we see in the picture. I like the analysis that sort of says, here are the kinds of questions we ask when we look at this picture. And I really like how Louise at the end sort of ties it back to Paglen's purpose, right? This is the kind of stepping through these 3 things is kind of what the moves 5, 6, and 7 are all about in the close reading moves. So anyway, folks, you're continuing to do really interesting work. I'm enjoying your posts every week. Let me know what questions you have about the paper or anything else that's coming up this week. As you know, I'm always available by email. Okay. I hope you're having a good day, and I will see you later.